is discovery, right? What exactly does it mean? And then he said, look, as a product manager, you have to constantly do customer discovery. It's part of your work. In fact, you should spend more time in the field than you spend at your desk. Actually, you're not supposed to be there writing user stories or taking off on Jira. You're not a backlog manager.
Is there something you found even across these different sectors or the different markets, or a principle that still remains true for you irrespective of the changes in the markets or the changes in the sector? Just a principle, a guiding principle.
When I think about it, me working across several industries, I feel really good and blessed that I had the opportunity. But one thing that I know, a product manager, irrespective of the industry, we do the same thing. Right from understanding your users, understanding the product that you're building, and building the right product for your customer.
How does one get over that fear of speaking up?
My very first experience, I had a very terrible experience. The next organization I joined, I made up my mind that I was going to speak up. We're all human beings. If, for example, you don't feel confident enough, you can research on that topic and then just speak, have an opinion. I believe that we should be bold enough to tell ourselves that we deserve to be heard, we deserve to be seen, and because of that, I would voice my opinion.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Unpacking with Tayo, and I'm so excited that you're able to join us today, and I'm really excited for the guest that we have on the program today. She's someone I've known for over 10 years, and I believe that she really qualifies to be called a product leader. So Unpacking with Tayo is a place, where we pause and reflect on not just what we've built, but the why behind it. And today we're going into the mind of Funto Akinbisehin. And you might wonder, why Funto? What's all this product leader you're talking about and all those things? But, come with us on the journey. It's going to be really exciting. Funto, thank you so much for joining me today. I just asked once and you said yes, and I really appreciate it. And you're my first guest. So that's, yay! Thank you. Awesome, fantastic. Okay, great. So before we go into the serious stuff, Funto, and before we even go into track record and all of that, and Funto is someone, up till most recently, she held leadership positions in Spotify, in ASOS. She's worked in e-learning, e-health, telco, everything, just name it. She's worked across the different sectors. So we're really going to, have a great time today. So Funto, before we get into the serious stuff, I want us to play a game. Okay? Since you're a product person, just light-hearted game. I'm going to name 2 products category. We'll go through 5, and then you tell me which one is your preference, and you tell us why. Okay, so the first one, let's see. Spotify or YouTube Music? I know this one is a bit rigged.
Well, I think, yes, I did work in Spotify, but I also use YouTube Music as well. And I think, honestly, I do have a preference for YouTube Music.
Yay! Okay, why?
First of all, I like the fact that it has Google integration, so I can log into YouTube with my Gmail. I don't have to create a new email, and it just stays within that ecosystem where I can toggle between my Google accounts, and basically I'm just in my YouTube account. I also like it because I think also one of the things I also like about the YouTube Music is because of the videos as well. I like visuals. And so I'm able to actually play the videos at the same time I'm listening to the music. That was something that drew my attention to it. And thirdly, I also think it's just very widely used and acceptable. And a lot of people tend to share music with me via YouTube a lot of times. So yeah, I'll say YouTube for me.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, it's YouTube for me as well.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I've never really used Spotify, but because of my YouTube music, I cancelled my Apple Music subscription, cancelled all other subscriptions, and it's just YouTube for me. So the next is ASOS or Zara?
Interesting question. ASOS or Zara?
Is that difficult?
Yeah. I think I like Zara.
Okay.
I mean, I like Zara because there's just something about their pages that's quite captivating for me. It's clean.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about the pictures, the quality of pictures as well, and the type of clothes that they sell, their styles.
Mm-hmm.
I think it suits my personality more. ASOS has a broad range of clothing, very broad, and I find myself looking through and having to go through a lot of pages before I find what I like. I think I think they just have a really huge catalog. I prefer Zara because they also target me. It's like they already know my preference. And so anytime it could even pop up on my Instagram feed or anything at all, they catch my attention quickly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Funto, I don't want to spend money again. But then there's this lovely dress that I want to get. Oh, there's this lovely skirt. So for me, I think maybe because of the way they target me in terms of my styles, they also the look and feel of the website. I just find I like it. Even though with ASOS, I do have a premium account where so I pay an annual thing for premium as a
Okay.
but I hardly order on ASOS as much as I order on
Zara. I actually didn't know ASOS had a premium subscription.
They do. They do.
Okay.
£10 per year or something like that.
Okay. Interesting. Fantastic. Okay. So let's do one last question. Build from scratch or optimize what's been there already?
Build from scratch. I find it exciting. I mean, build from scratch when it's necessary. Let me use that caveat. But definitely, I find it more exciting when I build from scratch because it gets me involved from the start, the vision, what we're trying to create, what we're trying to build, and just being a part of that journey. I find it really exciting. I always find that I feel like I'm adding a lot of value from the start and also just helping to drive that change so that when the product is now full-fledged and out there, I can beat my chest. I'm like, yes,
that's your baby.
I was part of that journey. So yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Fantastic. Thank you. That's awesome. I guess my next question, just following on that, Funto, would be: have you ever had to, or have you ever been tasked with the challenge of building a product or a feature that you didn't believe in? Has that ever happened to you?
I'm trying to go back now.
Yeah.
Because I think, I mean, at a point there was a particular product that I felt that we were not ripe for, even though the organization, it was something that they really wanted.
Yeah.
And we just didn't have the right skills as well, the right skill set. And so it was something that we actually tried, but I would say I failed because I didn't have that drive, because I didn't fully think we were prepared for that particular journey. Not saying that they haven't ended up building that, because in recent times I came across a post where they had actually built out that product.
Okay.
It's really good. I'm happy it's happened now, years after. But I believe at that time I didn't just have what it took at that time to build, and also the resources that I would have needed to be able to build that. So so that's what I would say my experience was at that time regarding that particular product.
Okay, thank you. Just following on from there. So you didn't end up building the product,
No,
right? Or the organization didn't end up building it.
they've
What would you say? I mean, what would you say for like, you know, employees, upcoming PMs, just generally, where you find yourself in a position, you're not yet in that position of leadership, but you're in that place where you're tasked to build a product that you don't even understand, you don't believe in it, you don't think it's going to do well, succeed, scale, whatever it is, and you have to do it. So it's a sink or swim situation. What should such a person do? What would your advice be? Is that a tough one?
well, I mean, the easy thing would be just push back and say no.
Hmm.
That's
Not,
just a
not is it
textbook.
realistic? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But what I would say is that my advice will be, if you're given that whole entire product to build out and you don't believe in it and you don't think there's a future for that product, first of all, I think you need to you need to even try to figure out why, as a PM, you don't think it's going to be the best thing to build.
Yeah.
And then you need to then back it up with facts and data and reasons why. And then you can offer alternatives as well as to what you think will be better for the organization.
Mm.
But if they insist that that's what they want, and you've really tried to push back, but
Yeah.
obviously maybe at that level they don't want you to make any decision, just go and build.
Mm.
I believe that you should then focus on the minimum that you can build. So the minimum features that you can help you from start to finish to at least be able to do whatever they want to achieve, whatever goal they want to be able to achieve. So let's say it's a platform for, I don't know, payments or whatever. Make sure that from start to finish, you can get people to use your product, carry out transactions, get paid, and things like that. At least that flow. You don't have to then build out the entire all the features at once.
Mm.
You can make it really lean. There's this thing called the Lean Startup by Eric Ries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he talks about building something that is really lean so you can learn. And then it should be an opportunity to then really, really validate your
Hypes about it not working.
hypothesis. Exactly. And always, always, always talk to your users. Never sit in the office or
Mm.
at your desk making assumptions.
And I mean, that's something that's so easy to end up falling into, or just a routine that's easy to, not adapt as a product manager, or even just as a professional generally, just, being behind the desk and the laptop in the office, reading reports and not actually being on the field, knowing what customers are really saying, how they feel, how they're using your product. Just talk to us more about, you were saying it's important.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, so I remember my journey into product and when I was just struggling as well, because by the time I went into product, it wasn't a thing. Not a lot of people were doing product. So I
Mm.
was, in fact, back home in Nigeria, I was one of the first set of people to actually build products, right? Having the opportunity to work with Konga. And so we actually had this team where, and it's one of the things that I'm really proud of, even up until now. I had a really good team, really good, yeah. So I remember then that when we were building, trying to understand, there's this product leader called Marty Cagan, and Marty is one of the very few people that I admire. He's really smart. He knows he understands product in depth. He's a product leader basically, and he's well sought after. And I remember attending one of his. I mean, I've attended about two of his workshops. But the first time I attended his workshop, he kept talking about discovery, and I didn't know what is discovery, right? What exactly does it mean? And then he said, "Look, as a product manager, you have to constantly do customer discovery. It's part of your work. You know,
Mm.
in fact, you should spend more time in the field than you spend at your desk. Actually,
Mm.
you're not supposed to be there writing user stories or taking off on Jira. You're not a backlog
Yeah.
manager,
Mm.
talking to your users. And so when he talked about that discovery, I started reading more. And then he wrote a book. He has this book. How, I'm trying to look for it, but someone might have said how to build products that customer love. It's such a
Mm.
good book for any product manager. And so he talks a lot about discovery, talking to your users, trying to listen to them, hearing them, understand what exactly do they need, what do they want, what are their pain points, what are their challenges. And for every product you're building, you should be solving a problem. So if you're building something that doesn't solve a problem, it's going to be hard for you to find a product market fit or to be able to
Mm.
solve that problem. So I believe that as a product manager, you must constantly um, make sure that you have your customers' needs. You must be user centric. Your customers' needs come first. So discovery is a forever thing that is important. And so there's so many topics. There's a book
Yeah.
by a lady called Teresa Torres. She wrote something about um, co- um, something about discovery. No, the book just I was just thinking about the book where I forgot continuous discovery habits or something like that. You know,
Okay.
just those things would empower you as a product manager to
Mm.
constantly know that you cannot sit in the office and just make assumptions. You have to keep digging. You have to keep.
Just on that front, so thank you. Would you say discovery is different in startups versus established corporate organizations? Is it different? I mean, for the larger corporates, is it teaming up with the research team? Is it teaming up with the UX team? What does that look like in startups versus established corporates, for the young PMs out there?
I would say that it shouldn't be different. I think it should be easier for startups because there's no bureaucracy. There's no, oh, we need to talk to this person before you talk to that person. I think when you're in a smaller company, you're really at an advantage to actually be the beginning of a new process of ways of doing things, how
Mm.
you want to work as a PM. Introducing those kind of things would also help you to even be impactful on your role.
Mm.
So, I mean, I've also worked in large organizations where you then have to go through the user researcher, you sit on those calls, and then you talk to the users. And I've also worked in smaller companies where you're just directly talking to the users without actually
Been
necessarily.
anybody in between? No middleman.
Yeah, exactly. And then if at the end of the day, the company scales, you can then afford to bring in a user researcher. Why not bring that person in, but partner with that person because that person understands user experience. And so when they come back, they can actually then give you a report that you can then use. Both of you look at it together, and that will help you to then prioritize what to be focusing on. So I would say that it's not particularly different per se, but you in the startup, you have an opportunity to actually bring in something new to introduce those ways of working for a product manager and then set those things and put it in place as the organization starts to scale. So that's what I would advise, really.
Thanks, Funto. Just on that point as well. So, there's something about tightening budgets. You know, I'm really hammering on the user research and discovery because I understand how important it is. So if you have someone pushing back to say, "Oh, my organization is cutting costs," or "We don't have the money for these sorts of things," what are some of the ways that you have um, had your customer discovery sessions on zero budgets, basically? I mean, what are some of the ingenious ways that people can go about doing their customer discovery on limited budget? Yeah.
So if you have a limited budget, you can't bring in a user researcher. I mean, Google is your friend, ChatGPT
Mm.
is your friend. And so you can actually put a prompt and say, oh, please, I need to do a customer discovery on this particular set of people. What kind of questions should I be asking? And then it gives you the kind of questions you can ask. And you can tweak it in such a way that it then aligns with your line of business, for example. And also in then doing on your customer discovery, you shouldn't then go alone as well. You can actually, if you have an engineer in your team, for example, Go with
Mm.
your engineer into that discovery session. And that's because when your engineers are also going to be building with you, right?
Yeah.
They also need to understand the user pain point, right? How are the users feeling about the products that I'm building? Because if you're allowing them to just sit in the office and all they're doing is just tap, 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 they're writing,
Yeah. Yeah.
they feel they're not a part of that journey. But if you carry them along, they're part of that journey. You're going into the user research together. Honestly speaking, it even helps you to build a better rapport with your engineering
With the
team.
team.
They
Right.
become they show more empathy. They can now start to understand where you as a product manager are coming from. Because as a product manager, one of the qualities that we should have is empathy. How do you empathize with your users so that you feel their pain and I just want to solve this problem? And you want the engineers to also have that kind of empathy. Always remember as well that when you're building, I mean, customer discovery is a lifetime thing, but there's a point where you should stop because it doesn't go on forever and
Mm.
build. So when you build, as you're building, you're still doing discovery, but don't just say you're doing discovery without doing anything at the
Never.
same time.
Mm.
Exactly. So it has to be time boxed to at
Because
least
you do have to build a product, right? You're not
exactly.
a
So
researcher.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, you touched on so many different things. And I know that you have something published. You have a book published. I just want to talk about it so that I can leave it. I'll leave the link. You don't want me to talk about it. I am. I'm going to leave the link, on the YouTube page. So it's essentials. Can you talk about it? Essential questions for
Product
yeah
manager.
for
Interesting. You just
product.
reminded me that I published something out there
I
that
can't
I
believe
need.
you forgot that. It's really good. It's really.
Oh,
I think it's really fantastic. Yeah.
oh, thank you for
Yeah.
that
It's
feedback.
really
Right?
fantastic.
Nobody has given me that feedback yet, but
Really? Oh,
yeah.
okay. It's really fantastic. I'm
Okay.
gonna leave the link,
Oh,
on when this
thank you.
video is published. Yeah. So it's really, really great. So yeah, I'm giving you that feedback. Take your flowers.
Thank
Fantastic.
you. That's
So what?
very, very kind of you.
No issues at all.
Yeah.
Something that I really want to hear from you, Fonto, because of your multi-sector experience and multi-market experience. So you've worked in Nigeria, other parts of Africa, in the UK, um, different sectors like I mentioned earlier, e-learning, e-commerce, e-health, fashion, music, telco. Is there something that you found? Because we're talking products, right? Is there something you found even across these different sectors or the different markets, or a principle that still remains true for you, irrespective of the changes in the markets or the changes in the sector? Just a principle, a guiding principle.
Yeah. Definitely. When I think about it, me working across several industries, I feel really good and blessed that I had the opportunity, even though it seems like, what exactly is your focus? Are you supposed to be e-commerce or fintech, or what exactly are you? And it's not by choice that it's been
Mm.
this way. It's just the opportunities that I've found myself
Yeah.
in. And so I've just taken them. But one thing that I know, and I'll say, is that a product manager, irrespective of the industry, we do the same thing.
Mm.
Right from understanding your users, understanding the product that you're building, and building the right product for your customers and your users. So one of the things that I've observed in the last few years is, especially within the last 2 years when the market has been really bad, um, they'll be looking for a sector specific product manager. So if you don't have fintech experience, for example, they don't even want to talk to you. And I
Mm.
found that to be quite interesting because um, I have been able to go into those different industries, not because I have the experience of that industry, but because I'm going there with my product manager hat.
Mm.
What problem are we trying to solve here? How can we build? What can we build to solve that problem? What teams am I going to be working with? Who are my stakeholders? How will I manage my stakeholders? These are the things as a product manager that are really important. What is our strategy? What is the organizational strategy? What will then be our product strategy? What is our vision as a team or as an organization? Where are we trying to get to? And so, what is my role as a product manager in your organization to bring that vision to life? That is my role in whichever sector I find myself. So, if you're not going to hire me because I don't have your sector specific skill,
Yeah.
then it's your
Your lot.
loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Your lot.
I strongly believe that product managers are able to work across different industries, are actually more they're more exposed, they're more open-minded, they're not fixated on just one way of working. I mean, when I worked with Spotify, I worked in a really deeply technical space where, and I remember when I was hired with Spotify, it's an interesting situation. I remember speaking with my line manager at that time. She told me, she said, Funto, this is not like anything you've done before. It's not a user-facing side of things, but I
Right.
need your type of skills to come in and show us how to be a user-facing team. And I remember that that even got me more excited. It was a really, really technical space. So I was working with engineers. I was building internal tools for engineers, right? But it still exposed me to that side where I could tell myself, okay, this is what a platform product manager does. So that if I find myself in another role, I can go in there and bring in all those skills and still use them on that job. So, personally, for me, working across different industries as a product manager, just go in there with your product manager hat, knowing that you're going to help them to solve a problem. You're going to go there to help them to achieve their vision, and you're going to go there to help them to solve customer problems. So you're going to be doing your user discovery, you're going to be building with your engineers, you're going to be engaging your stakeholders. I don't know anything different that you're going to be doing across those teams, right? So yeah, so that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Thanks, Fonso. That's very insightful. I think one final question that I'd like to ask you is, I mean, working across, you've worked in Nigeria, now in the UK. Do you see any key differences in, African talent versus, talent in the Western world? Are there any key differences? Is there anything you've noticed? Is there any message that you have, for talents back home?
The differences I see sometimes is just around the work ethics and just being detailed, paying attention to those details. I think those are some of the things that we're not patient enough to do back home. And I would really like us to do more of that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No questions are stupid. And that's one of the things I also see as well. We're afraid to ask questions. And I think those were some of the things that I brought along with me when I moved here. Being afraid to speak at meetings, being afraid to voice my opinion because I was afraid of being told that what I was saying was stupid.
Nonsense.
Exactly, or it was not good enough or
Yeah.
nonsense. So
Yeah.
I think this is really also important as well to to be to think critically and not jump to conclusions. And also another thing is that we tend to solutionize a lot.
When you say
So once
we,
there's a
when you say
general
we,
back home, so
right.
immediately we see a problem. Oh, let's build an app. That's it. An app for what? What's the problem that we're trying to solve? What's the real problem? Have you spoken with users? Is it an app that they need, or do they need just something simple? Could it be just a form, right, that they need to fill or complete? But that's what I mean. It still goes back to doing proper discovery
Due diligence.
and yes, and really ensuring that we do a proper research before we then
Jump.
solutionize and jump into
Right.
just building something and that way we build our reputation, we become better in our craft, and and then we can excel anywhere we find ourselves.
Can I just ask, like, how did you get over, so the initial fear? And I find myself, I found myself having that fear as well when I started working in the UK. But I mean, how did you get over that? What built your confidence over time? What are some of the things we can do? Because it's not like the skills are not there or the skills were not there. You did have the skills. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been brought on board. But how does one get over, that fear of speaking up or, being seen?
Yes. So, I mean, my very first experience, I had a very terrible experience. I had to resign and I left that job. And it was not a good experience at all. So it's something I don't really like to talk about, but I had to seek professional help for me to be able to recover from that experience. It was that bad. It affected my mental health and I left really scarred. But I think afterwards, the next organization I joined, I made up my mind that I was going to speak up, right? And I was going to be, no matter what, I would speak up. And I remember my line manager said, "Wow, Funto, you're such a strong product manager. You're so proactive. I would like you to mentor the upcoming ones." Imagine me coming from that space where I was made to feel incompetent. I was made to feel that I wasn't good enough. It was really bad. And then further down the line, I then moved to another organization where I got the same feedback about how a strong lady I was. My voice wanted to be heard. They wanted to hear what I had to say. And I think all those things just made me realize, you know what? We're all human beings. All I need to do is just, if for example, you don't feel confident enough, you can research on that topic. Or you can actually then, after the meeting, read up on it, do further research, and then go back and ask questions, right? And then just speak, have an opinion. Those were the things that I wasn't doing. And I realized that it was not the right thing to do. So even when you get to a new place, observe, look at the environment, what's their culture like, what do they do, what do they like, or don't they like, and then adapt, right? And so that's it. So at the back of my mind, I remind myself, Funto, you're good at this job. You deserve to be here. I tell myself affirmation. I tell myself, go into that meeting, even if anybody wants to rubbish me, I will not tolerate it. I may not say anything right then, but you would have heard my voice. I would have said something, right? So I believe that we should be bold enough to tell ourselves that we deserve to be heard, we deserve to be seen, and we deserve what we have, that job that is ours. And because of that, I will voice my opinion. I must have an opinion. I will not be silent. I will not be a fly on the wall. I will be an active, opinionated, or not opinionated, but I'll be actively involved in this collaboration or whatever it is.
Decision, whatever it is. I think that's
Exactly.
so awesome. And I think it's a really very reflective end to our conversation. Thank you so much, Funto, for being so open. And I'm sure that, our viewers have learned so much. I personally have learned so much. And I mean, the last story you shared touched me so deeply, and connected, resonated with me so much. And I'm so thankful, so grateful that you're able to join me today, to explore, go deeper into your mind, the mind of a product leader. And, I'm so thankful that you were able to share that you actually made a mistake, because that's something that we don't want to portray. Those are parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily want to expose. But really, really grateful, really thankful. Thank you once more for being so open. Really appreciate your time. If anyone has any question, do you want to leave your social media handle, or shall I add it to the link? Where can we reach you? It's at what? LinkedIn, Instagram, Funto. Is it Funto Akinbisehin across all the different channels?
Yeah. On Instagram, I'm iFunto, but on LinkedIn, it's Funto Akinbisehin.
Funto Akinbisehin. Yes. And Funto also is the founder of PM Africa. So it's PM Africa on Instagram, right? I believe.
Yes. Okay. Yes, and we have a website as well, pmafrica.co, and we have a Slack community as well that they can join, and then we have a WhatsApp group as well. Okay. So
yeah. So if you want to reach out to Funto, connect with Funto, if you're a product manager, you have products related issues, questions, conversations that you'd like to have, those are all of Funto's handles that you can reach her on. Funto, thank you so much, and really great to have you unpack what it means to be a product leader on Unpacking with Tayo with me today. Thank you so much. And
Thank
see
you,
you guys next
Tayo.
time. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.